Hello, everyone. It is I, the Reverend Godfather, the main host and frontman for the Long Coat Mafia podcast, where you can find audio episodes of that podcast are listed in the description down below. And today, folks, I am a happy camper because I get to show off and tell you about the NES Classic Edition, which I picked up today. And let me give you a little bit of a rundown, and I'll try to keep it to the TLDR version of this. Late October, early November of 2016, Nintendo initially released this product in limited run. And how limited, I can't give you the exact numbers, but let me just say this. The scalpers who bought 15, 20, the entire stock of these were making a couple $100 each one, meaning that they bought this for $60 at a place like Walmart, Target, GameStop, and they went to eBay, they put a $500 price tag on it, and they were selling it like there was no tomorrow. But in recent months, after it got, in essence, was discontinued, people like myself were still pissed because we couldn't get our hands on it. We yelled, we shouted. A lot of people were still very salty in regards to not getting one, and Nintendo heard everybody's complaints and issued a kind of an apology in regards to everybody, and they said, listen, what's going to happen is that we have to release this first. And we're going to release the Super Nintendo Classic Edition, or the Super Nintendo Mini, for all of you to pick up and buy. We won't be putting it limited. They kind of learned their lessons with this, and everybody could kind of get one of these without going through a scalper. And they said, well, there you go. Enjoy, but we do have good news. We will, because everybody, we heard your arguments, we heard you yelling, we heard you screaming, we saw the pitchfork mob outside. Please do not fret. We will be kind of re-releasing the Classic Edition for all of you to purchase in about mid 2018, and that's what they did. And at the end, I think of the end of June, they kind of re-released this for everybody. How does it kind of differ between the initial 2016, early 2017 run? Basically, from the videos I've seen, the box art is relatively different, just minutely, like the Nintendo, instead of the official Nintendo logo being like up here, it's kind of like down here, and there's just minor stuff. And as per the games on the back, it's still the 30 games, same 30 games. But one of the things that I have, since I've got this in my hands, that I've noticed, and a lot of the kind of the paperwork and the stuff on the Nintendo site and everything in regards to this has the same list to it. Meaning that you get Balloon Fight. It is there. How I missed it beginning, I was like, wait a minute, they list they have the box art for Balloon Art on the back, but they don't have it listed in the 30 games. But apparently they do. It was just an excitement rush of getting what I want. But the difference is, other than that, it's the same. You get the console, one controller, 30 games. Basically, what to kind of give you the rundown of the box is that you get the console. It says according to the box, it's a retro blast from the past with the return of all-time favorite Nintendo Entertainment System. The mini-sized NES Classic Edition system is packed with 30 pre-installed classic Nintendo Entertainment System games from the 80s, fully loaded and ready to play using the original style NES Classic controller. And it again, the controller, and they just says A and B buttons, and so forth and so on. And the games include Balloon Fight, Bubble Bobble, Castlevania, Dr. Mario, Double Dragon, Excite Bike, the original Final Fantasy, Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3, the original Legend of Zelda and Zelda 2, plus Ninja Gaiden, and amongst many others. Now, before I go into opening this up, a lot of people have said to me, first off, one person, a fellow YouTuber, Sasha Moen, she's on YouTube, she said, did you pick up the extra controller? I said, I didn't. I was more concerned in getting this than anything else. I didn't really notice if they had extra controllers. They probably did, but well, I'm not really too concerned about that. I might pick up one sometime down the road, or search Amazon to pick up one. But for now, I am satisfied with the console and one controller. Many people have hacked this or the first run of the Nintendo, the NES Classic, and added more games to it. Even Sasha commented, it's like, am I going to hack mine and add some games to it? And my comment to her is the same thing I'm going to tell all of you. I'm not going to hack this. I'm not going to add any games to it. I'm happy with the original 30. If you out there choose to pick up one of these or a Super NES, there, my Walmart near me here in Martinsburg, West Virginia, had plenty of these in stock still, as well as plenty of these in stock. And I'm not going to hack either one of these. Me personally, I am satisfied with the 30. The differences between this, other than being this at the time of, I won't say the mini, the original release, I'm not going to drag it out, but the initial release of the SNES, or say the release of the Super Nintendo, this Classic Edition has about 21 games, and the Classic NES has 30. I'm satisfied with both. I'm happy with both. It has a lot of the games I either wanted to own when I initially had the original system, or owned when I had the initial system. So I'm not going to really want to add additional games to it. But that a lot of people have also said to me, it's like, oh, Rev, you could easily gotten a Raspberry Pi and so forth and so on. I'm like, no. To me, I'm not that tech savvy a lot of the times, and something like this suits my needs just fine. I'd rather plug and play if I can. I know that's a lot of things out there for people, but I must say, for someone who, I'm going to bring it up now, I want to show you now, put this down. I do own an original NES, and here it is. It's not hooked up. I don't know where my controller is for it, but this is the original Nintendo system. But the thing with this, a lot of people say, you could buy one of these and all the games for it already. Yes, little do a lot of you realize, depending on the retro gaming shop that this is not my original that I owned as a kid. I picked this one up at a local retro gaming shop for $50. Plus, it came with the power, and it came with the connecting stuff, and it came with the controller. But the thing is, this cost me $50 with the controller and the connector stuff and the power equipment. But the thing is, the games, as always, cost extra. And the games for this system range from between $5 all the way up to a couple of $100. And that all depends on the game variant, because the retro gaming community knows about the variants and how to find them and where to find them and the cost. And I just know for a fact they could range. Some of them can range, like stadium events for the original Nintendo can cost several $1,000. And if you're like me and you want games like Super Mario 3 or Final Fantasy or Legend of Zelda or something like that, it will cost you a couple of $100. And if you're on a limited budget, something like this might not be the thing for you, because it's a collector's market, and a lot of the stuff costs. The games that you want might cost a pretty penny. But I'm going to put this back down again. So something like this or the Sega Mini that is put out. I don't know the quality about the Sega Mini. Might be the best thing for someone like myself and someone like you out there that you don't have the time to find a reputable gaming retro gaming shop. Now Martinsburg does have a decent one. It's called Panhandle Games. I'm not knocking them in any way, shape, or form. But the thing is, with getting games like this, again, games for a system like this, there are several issues. One is, again, I'm not putting Panhandle Games on blast. They're a wonderful store. They're a wonderful retro store. They sell a lot of games for the original Nintendo, and if you own original Sega and original SNES and so forth and so on, they're more than helpful to sell you those games, and especially used games for an Xbox One, PS4, 360, and those types of games as well. They'll be more than happy. They have a large stock, and no way have kind of supported the show in any way, shape, or form. But they have treated me well as a customer in the past. So, but I want to say this: there are a lot of stores out there that might not be as reputable as Panhandle Games. I say that because they might sell games that don't work, which means you could go in there, and if you have the money, you could spend something like $50 on this. You could get yourself a copy of Super Mario 3, and when you finally connect everything up to your TV and pop this game in, it might not work. Or the fact that the people that they hired at that particular retro gaming store might have thought they got Super Mario 3, but the people that sold them this particular game might have put a cheaper game inside. Yes, that has been reportedly happened on various places. So, not to mention, you run the risk of this game not working altogether, or the system that you picked up might be a refurbished system, and for some reason, just even though the game might work, it might not fully work with your system. So, again, something like this, you're guaranteed that Super Mario Brothers 3 will work. You're guaranteed Legend of Zelda will work. You're guaranteed Ghosts and Goblins will work. You're guaranteed Ninja Gaiden will work. So that's this. And I'm not, again, I'm happy for this. I'm happy getting this. So I might pick up an extra controller eventually for this, but let's crack this puppy open. There's no real taping it together. Again, this sets you back, whereas this I think was closer to $70. This is closer to $60. I think it's like $60 to $59.99. Plus there's tax if your state does include sales tax. I know there's a few states that don't, but let's open this up. Now, I will say this came with like a poster as well, along with other legalese stuff. That's it here. Put that off to the side. And here's everything. And we'll get to... It looks like your atypical packet of legalese, but we'll open this up in a moment. But here is the... Moving this out of the way. One controller. And this feels like it's about the same size as a NES, slightly smaller. Power cord. Now let's get, this is the NES. We'll open it up in a second, but there's stuff in the bottom of this I want to get out. Now here's the HDMI card and cord, and the rest of the power stuff. It takes a, I think this is a USB-C type of cord, meaning if it goes, I think you get it replaced easily by going to Walmart and getting an extra cord. But to give you a size, okay, here is pulling out the Classic Mini. Now, here's the Mini. And to give you a size comparison, where is it? It is roughly the same size. It is, again, this is a scaled down version to give you a size comparison. Here is the Mini, the Classic Edition, and here's the original. As you can see, it's definitely scaled down. And like in real life, it's about a little bit smaller than the Classic Mini. Now, it on the back, yes, on the front, it has a working power and reset, and there's the power and there's the reset right there. It has two connectors here, which from what I heard, you're able to, if you have like a Wii remote, yeah, you can use that and the controller works just fine. No, like with the Mini, the cartridge insert does not open up. But on the back, you have the HDMI port and the power port. And don't worry, folks. What you see on the back, it just says HDMI. I'm not gonna. And it has the standard legalese on the bottom and everything else. Like I said, I'm not going to open it up or anything like that. Now, the main concerns was the controller cord. This is the controller. It feels about roughly the same size in my hand as the controller for the regular size Nintendo. So there's no real worry about it being too small. But the cord, that's this here. A lot of people have complained that the cord is too small. Considering I have a decent sized HDMI cord attached to my TV, I don't really have to worry about this cord being too small, because I could just set this right on my coffee table and just play right nearby. And the plug is on the other side, so there's no worries about this being too short or too long. Now, to give you a general size comparison, because I was using it, this is a classic Nintendo cartridge, Super Mario 3. This is the Mini. Turn it around for you folks. This is Classic Mini. As you can see, it's about, put it in front, it's about maybe, this is maybe about a smidge, put it up, as you can see, it's about a smidge wider than the cartridge, but the cartridge is definitely taller than it. So it's about the size of a cartridge. Do I like this? Yes. Am I going to have some fun with it? Yes. Will I later or sometime this weekend plugging this into my TV and enjoying some old-timey Nintendo 8-bit games, including some Super Mario and some Legend of Zelda, and going down a trip of memory lane? Oh, you betcha. And before we continue, let me open up the bag of legalese. And it's not really too hard to open up because, well, it didn't have a flap. And as always, you had the poster of legalese and operation. And basically, this is there because a lot of people, when it comes to video games, it kind of does a lot of flashing, and people who suffer from epilepsy tend to have onset when they play the games. So that's basically what this is for. It's like, please, be forewarned, and so forth and so on. And plus, this is the instruction manual. I'll only open it up. As you can see, it tells you how to Sorry about that. It tells you how to hook it up and so forth and so on. But it also doubles as a poster. And as you can see, it's the original light gun. And the poster says, Nintendo Entertainment System, now you're playing with power since 1985. Now, this is the original, what would be the original poster, but I think the original poster would have had not since 1985, but it would said now you're playing with power. For those of you youngsters out there, this I believe is called Robbie, and he kind of was supposed to help you play a few games, and that's the light gun that they had on this side. But from what I've seen, some of the tech other than the light gun was kind of rather pathetic. So, and Robbie didn't really work out that well. But the light gun you won't find in regards to a system like this, because what it needed was a TV with a CRT tube in it, which means those old bulky type of things. But that being said, that's the unboxing. That's this. Yes, well, again, I'll be taking a trip down memory lane and enjoying my little system like this. And you want to know something, folks? For someone like myself, this safe house is the size of I won't say it's like a studio apartment. It's an efficiency place, and that means it's slightly bigger than a tiny house or tiny home. So something like this that takes up a very small footprint is very beneficial for someone like myself. And the $60 price tag is cheap enough for me to have. And not to mention the games that are on the back, like Super Mario 3 and the virtual game store because I do own one of these. Let me pull it out for you. I do own one of these. I don't play it that often, but I do own one. And the virtual console for this, which means I could buy a lot of the games that comes with this, as well as a lot of the games that come with this. And the thing is, those games could cost about $5 a piece, if not a little bit more, on average. Which means if I want to play the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past on this, I have to shell out $5. If I want to pay the original Super Mario Brothers 3, $5. So, and that could add up really, really quick. Yes, I could bring those games with me in regards to something like this, but thinking like this, if I went to MegaCon, I could bring this and this with me with one, in essence, probably one power cord, and hook it up to one power cord and one HDMI cable, hook it up to a TV, and play with my fellow geeks all night long on these if I so choose. So, because these are just as small as that and don't take up that much footprint. So, there's that. What I'm going to do now is leave you all. Stay tuned for when I post this up. This upcoming week, I'm not going to really be posting up another Paracon panel. It will be kind of a part 2 to last week's Otakon stuff, because a lot of stuff has come out, and there is some geek news that I wanted to tell you guys about. So there's that. And as always, while you're here, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, because it helps a lot with the algorithms, and as well as if you wish to email us, you can do so by emailing us at lonecoatmafia@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment down below, as well as where you can find the Lone Coat Mafia podcast itself. Links are in the description, as well as you could also go through either Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music /podcasts, or use my favorite, the Podbean app. So there's that. But if you're on the desktop, more so than on a cell phone or mobile device, you can find us through Podbean, our Podbean site, which is thelonecoatmafia.podbean.com, or you could find us. You could download, not only listen to us through the website streaming, you could also download the episode and listen to the show at your leisure through your favorite MP3 computer's MP3 player of choice, whatever that might be. Or you can listen to us on iTunes or through Spotify or Stitcher Radio. So that's all your choice. Stay tuned to our podcast channels and social media. Those links will be down below as well to see what comes up next, and catch you next week's episode. Later.